Good morning, Year 7. I hope you're well and having a lovely day. For your do now, I'd like you to answer the following question. How many films can you name that star talking animals? Pause the video to do that now. So you may have said Madagascar, 101 Dalmatians, a number of films from the Disney franchise include talking animals, The Lion King, you've also got Ratatouille, so a huge array of different films. And of course The Jungle Book and Zootopia. So today's title is Badger, so please could you write the date and title in your book. Although our story is about animals, they talk and have many human qualities. The Wind in the Willows is an anthropomorphic story about Ratty, Mole, Badger and Toad. Please could you write down this definition. Anthropomorphism is the attribution of human traits, emotions or intentions to non-human entities, animals or objects, like the talking clocks and candlesticks in Beauty and the Beast. Pause the video to write down that definition. Let's look back at Chapter 3. What do we already know about Badger? I'd like you to read the extract about Badger from the beginning of Chapter 3, pages 39 to 40, when Mole is asking Ratty about Badger as he wants to meet him. What do we find out about him there? Make a list. The extract is also attached to class charts. Pause the video for 7 minutes to do this now. So, could you please make sure you've highlighted what I've highlighted on the slide? The sections highlighted demonstrate he's important, he's rarely seen, everybody feels his influence, he has power, he's unpredictable, they have to wait for him to show up. The best of fellows, so he's very much respected and admired. He hates society, invitations and dinners, etc. He's very shy and he lives in the middle of the wild wood. He's solitary, which means he's alone, potentially indicating that he's lonely. But bearing in mind he doesn't like being with society, maybe he's just enjoying being alone. And finally, we know he lives on his own. So pause the video to add this to your notes and make sure you've got everything highlighted on the slide, highlighted in your book or extract. Okay, so now let's look at Chapter 4, Mr. Badger. I'd like you to read from this chapter where Mole and Ratty find Badger's home in the wild wood and knock on the door. Once you've read the extract, there are some comprehension questions to answer. So please look at the extract on class charts and do that now. Pause the video for 10 minutes, please. So please could you reread this section and answer the questions below. There was the noise of a bolt shot back, and the door opened a few inches, enough to show a long snout and a pair of sleepy, blinking eyes. Now, the very next time this happens, said a gruff and suspicious voice, I shall be exceedingly angry. Who is it this time, disturbing people on such a night? Speak up! Oh, Badger, cried the rat. Let us in, please. It's me, Rat, and my friend Mole, and we've lost our way in the snow. What? Ratty, my dear little man, exclaimed the Badger in quite a different voice. Come along in, both of you at once. Why, you must be perished. Well, I never. Lost in the snow, and in the wild wood, too, and at this time of night. But come in with you. So what I'd like you to do is answer these questions. Identify 2 words which make the Badger seem frightening at first, and then explain why the Badger might not be welcoming at the beginning of the extract. Pause the video for 7 minutes to do this now. Okay, so these are your answers. Gruff, suspicious, angry, and he has been asleep. Sleeping, blinking eyes, so he is annoyed. The weather is awful, such a night, so he's not happy about having to open the door. He does not know who is there, so feels concerned about being disturbed by someone he doesn't know. Pause the video to make sure you have those answers written down. Okay, so next let's read through this next passage. The Badger, who wore a long dressing gown and whose slippers were indeed very down at the heel, carried a flat candlestick in his paw and had probably been on the way to bed when their summons sounded. He looked kindly down on them and patted both their heads. "This is not the sort of night for small animals to be out," he said paternally. "I'm afraid you've been up to some of your pranks again, Ratty. But come along, come into the kitchen. There's a first-rate fire there, and supper and everything." He shuffled on in front of them, carrying the light, and they followed him, nudging each other in an anticipating sort of way, down a long, gloomy, and to tell the truth, decidedly shabby passage, into a sort of central hall, out of which they could dimly see other long tunnel-like passages branching, passages mysterious and without apparent end. So I'd like you to first identify a word which makes the badger seem caring, and then explain how the badger treats other animals. Pause the video to do that now. So we've got kindly, and for number 2, he treats them as a father might his children. Paternally means like in a father-like manner. We also see this when he patted both their heads and refers to them as small animals. Ratty and Mole respond to this as they followed him. He is the leader in the situation. He is going to look after them and provide them with food and shelter. So make sure you have that written down. Okay, next I would like you to reread this section and answer this question. How is the badger's home described? Write down the key details. Pause the video to do this now. You have 10 minutes. So I've highlighted the key sections of this passage that hopefully you've written out. So at first, Badger's home seems gloomy, dark, and mysterious because of the long passages. But deep underground it is safe, warm, light, and comfortable with plenty of food. The animals feel far away from the wild wood, even though they are still technically in the middle of it. So make sure you have these sections written down, or at least a couple of them. To finish, select at least one of the quotations below that describes Badger like a human. Anthropomorphic description. Explore what the quotation suggests about him. You can do this as a peel paragraph, or you can do it as a quotation explosion. Either option is fine. Pause the video for 5 minutes to do this now. And that's the end of today's lesson. Thank you very much for your hard work, and I look forward to speaking to you next time. Have a lovely rest of your day.